everybody, it's Lindy. Thank you so much for joining me. On today's episode, we are going to be making cookies called strawberry pillows. These adorable little cookies melt in your mouth. They're 1 or 2 bites and they're eggless. So if you have someone with an egg allergy in your family or friends, it's the perfect recipe to keep in your cookbook. Let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need 1/2 cup of butter softened to room temperature, 4 ounces of cream cheese, which is 1/2 block softened to room temperature, 1/2 cup of sugar, and you're going to mix this until it's light and fluffy with your mixer. Now that we've creamed those ingredients together, we're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and 1 1/4 cup of flour. You'll want to add the flour in small increments as it starts to incorporate into the mixing bowl. Once everything is creamed together thoroughly, you want to prepare the dough to refrigerate it for 2 hours. We're going to use some saran wrap, spread it out on your countertop, and put about 1/2 of the dough in the saran wrap. You're going to make 2 just the same. It is a little sticky right now. This is why we want to refrigerate it so it's easier to work with. Go ahead and fold that saran wrap over, press it down, so it just makes it refrigerate thoroughly and all the way through. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Do the same for the other 1/2 of the dough, refrigerate for 2 hours, and then we'll be ready to create our cookie. Our dough has chilled for 2 hours, so now we're ready to roll out our cookies and fill them with strawberry preserves. Of course, if you are not a strawberry fan, you can fill them with apricot preserves, blackberry, anything that you can think of. You're going to want to flour your surface, and you're going to need your rolling pin. You also need a round cookie cutter. Now you can use little 2-inch cookie cutters. It makes adorable teeny tiny cookies. Or if you want a more hearty pillow, you can use a larger cookie. It's completely up to you. We're going to go ahead and unwrap one of the discs of dough and roll it out onto our floured surface to about 1/4 of an 1/8 inch thick. That's a pretty thin cookie. I've also preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and I've put parchment paper on my cookie sheet. As I'm rolling, notice I flip the dough over every once in a while. It just helps spread out the flour that's on my floured surface, and so the dough doesn't stick. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut a round circle and place it onto our cookie sheet. We'll be making 2 different size cookies, just so you can see the different variety. Now, because these are pillows, you need a top and a bottom for each, so they need matching pairs. We'll go ahead and cut 2 of each, and then I'll show you how to assemble. You can go ahead and put your cookie sheet in front of you. One side of your raw cookie dough goes down onto your parchment paper. We're going to take our strawberry preserves, and if you're using a 2-inch cookie cutter, you really only need about 1/4 teaspoon preserves. They will spread while you are baking. If you're using the larger one, then you can use about a teaspoon of preserves. I like using just a teaspoon measuring spoon. That way it's just a smaller scoop to get into my jelly jar. Go ahead and put the other one on top, and then we're going to take a fork and press down around the edges. It not only seals the cookie, it makes it look super cute from the top edge. If your fork is sticking like mine, you can simply tap it in a little bit of flour, and then it won't stick to your dough anymore. Once you've made those fork marks all the way around, take a sharp knife and cut an X in the top. This allows the steam to release so your cookie doesn't puff up, but also makes a little bit of that jam show through, and it makes it really pretty. So I'll go ahead and put the fork marks on my smaller cookie. And then I will make my cross mark. Once you've done this with all of your dough, you're going to bake for 7 to 9 minutes at 375 degrees. Once you've taken their cookies out of the oven, you want to move them onto a cooling rack. You can see that they are adorable little bite-sized cookies. Or if you use the larger cookie cutter, cookies that might give you a few tasty bites. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to follow our channel. That way, every time that we upload a new video, you're notified. Feel free to comment or leave a question and we'll get back to you. Thanks. Bye.